We have an apple thief. Somebody came onto our property right next to our orchard down here and stole all of our wild apples. I am so upset about this. Apple thief. Hi, I'm Jamie. We are building an entire family compound homestead from scratch on about 20 acres in the wilderness and sharing the best and the worst of all of it right here with you. In this episode, David begins the massive job of rough-in electrical wiring on our 2,000 square foot home with an oversized attached garage. I get to jump in and push some dirt around on our tractor. Our contractor and his crew frame the deck of our wraparound porch. And we discover that someone has been on our property stealing our apples. We are Hidden Creek Family Ranch, a 3-generational family teaming up to build our homestead from scratch in North Idaho. It's presently winter here in North Idaho, but for this video, we're heading back to September. Take a look. It's the first weekend of September, Labor Day weekend actually, and that water is cold. It hurts my feet. It wasn't like this at all summer, but now that it's getting cold at night, like dropping down into the 40s, yeah, it's my feet got a little achy just now. It's a little chilly in there. The fast approaching fall couldn't keep us out of the creek, but it was a clear indication that the North Idaho winter was coming. And it was a great motivator to get the house dried in with windows and doors and siding. The only problem was our windows and doors weren't ready yet, even though we had ordered them a couple of months ago. I did get really excited when the Coeur d'Alene Window Company truck pulled in, but they only had 2 of our windows and the other 17 were expected to be delivered within the next couple of weeks. 300 feet down the road, my dad and Carol did get their windows for their garage and they installed them themselves. Back at our house, our construction crew had finished installing house wrap and moved on to trimming the corners and base of the plywood sheathing with 5/4 trim in preparation for the hardy board siding that will be installed once our windows and doors are in. Meanwhile, inside the house, David was cleaning up after boring all of the pathways for the electrical wiring, which he'll begin tomorrow. Excuse the noise of paper, but I'm building a fire right now in our wood-burning hot tub because David has been up and down the ladder all day, working with a big power tool, boring holes in wood, getting sawdust in his eyes and nose and ears. So I just decided I would go ahead and light up the fire because I figured he'd want to come out here and hang out and relax. You have sawdust in your beard. I got you.
It's not dandruff.
It's sawdust.
It's sawdust.
Oh, it's in your ears too.
Yeah.
Nice work today.
Yeah, we did work. I actually feel like I did something.
Yeah, you finally got to do something on the house. Up till this point, we told Joel we're available to help out, but he said, quite honestly, we would probably just be in the way. So, I mean, you know, he's pretty honest about things. And he's right, we would be, because I've never done construction.
I've got a little bit of knowledge, just enough to be dangerous, being a firefighter and the son of an architect.
Yeah.
That just gets me into trouble.
Right. Yeah, it's best that we just stayed out of the way up to this point. And, you know, it's a pretty complicated house, and it's tall, and it's steep. And so, finally, we're at a point where
We're starting to put in our effort.
yeah, we get to contribute more.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Today was all about, for me, starting the process for our electrical. So I'll be doing the wiring, getting some guidance from the contractor. Once the inspector gets here, certainly I'll be able to speak to how the house is wired to code. And it gives us the opportunity to really own the layout of where our fixtures are, where all of the electrical sockets, and just positioning, which is pretty rewarding because now is the moment to really take a look at the design of the house interior. And certainly Jamie's done a ton of work on looking at what the best layout's going to be. matching what the contractor will say yes or no as to whether or not we're within code. So pretty awesome. Basically today just drilled a lot of holes where the home runs will be, basically the wiring that connects all the way back to the circuit panel.
I was wondering what home run meant.
Making sure that we have good pathway, and you know, from a fireman standpoint, looking at the hazards overall, which was good for me. So now I have a complete understanding as far as the layout of our electrical system throughout the house.
So it was great, and like you said, very rewarding. Definitely feeling like we own it. You know, I've lived in houses before where the electrical layout didn't entirely make sense. You know, like where certain plugs were, they were just in an awkward spot, and where light switches were, again, just not really making sense to the flow of the home. So we got to customize this. It's gonna flow the way we want it to flow. Feels pretty awesome. Tomorrow you running lines? Through all your holes that you bored?
Tomorrow I get to run all the conduit. So yes, running lines.
Are we gonna walk down to Electric Avenue? We're gonna walk down to Electric Avenue. I just did that.
Yes.
I'm embarrassed. This is where I stop recording. Okay, bye. The next day, David began the nearly 2-week job of wiring the house. If you're wondering if David is an electrician or has ever done anything like this before, the answer is no. But my husband is the kind of guy who can learn and do just about anything. And with the help of Papa and Steve and Sammy installing the canned lights and outlet boxes, David was able to focus solely on wiring all 4,000 square feet of the house and garage. What are you doing?
I'm wiring the fire alarm from master bedroom to bedroom 1 to bedroom 2, and then across to the laundry room, and then we're gonna feed it out into the living room, all on one circuit dedicated to the fire alarm.
Good job, fireman. I'm Jack.
Stop. You gotta light yourself on fire. Oh, it goes to the balls. Jack.
All right, honey, what you got here?
This is 12 gauge wire that we're wiring the outlets to. So all of the home runs have been done to the box. Now we're wiring each room. So basically running from the switch box to the outlet, and then we'll just relay all the way through the walls, wrapping around in the master bedroom, stopping at that circuit, and then the next course will be up from that switch box up to the can lighting, wrapping around like a horseshoe.
After running all of the electrical wire in the house to the outlets and the switches and the can lighting fixtures, as well as the home runs back to the breaker box, David was ready to move on to the most dangerous part of this job, running the wire through the 16-foot-high trusses of the garage. And once that job was safely completed, David then moved on to all of our exterior lights, including canned lights on our wraparound porch, wall-mounted porch lights, and security lights. And at this point, I finally got to jump in and contribute to the job as well. Several bucket loads of dirt were brought in to fill the space under what was about to become the deck of our wraparound porch, and we did this for a few reasons. First, to bring the height of the foundation closer to the height of the ground around the perimeter of the house. Second, to minimize the space for water to pool under the deck. And third, to reduce the likelihood of critters making the space underneath our deck their home. While I continued bringing in loads of dirt, the guys began installing 2x6 pressure-treated lumber and joist brackets as the first step of framing the deck of our wraparound front porch. But this was as far as they got for now because it was the end of their work day. David, however, had a couple more hours of daylight to take advantage of. All right, before you climb back up on that ladder.
No, I like being this height.
You're taller than me
than
instead
you.
of like the same height as me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You can get back on the ladder, honey, if it makes you feel better. See, I'm standing on a pile of dirt, so now I'm taller. There you go.
Yeah, see, we'll make it look like I'm...
There we go. Wouldn't that be weird? What if this was us?
Yeah. Oh,
Then
this
I'd-
is what you always wanted, huh?
Then
The tall man.
Then I'd no, because then I'd have a hurt neck. Like I'd always be achy in the neck. No, you're just right.
I'm just...
I still look up to you no matter what. So, fun day. I got to hop on the tractor. Did I steal your thunder?
No, no, it was a family fun day.
Yeah.
More of wiring going on today, working with the security lights
Oh,
we're
is that what
putting
you were
on
doing?
corners.
Nice.
So, and then all of the decking cam lights that go from the front porch and wrap around to the side porch. So, can lights are up and the yellow wire there.
Because everything outdoors has to be GFI.
Well, all of the security lights will need to be because
Oh,
they're
okay.
going to be outside
Oh,
of
from the shelter
patio.
of the porch, right?
So we got that, and later finishing up the can lights in the loft, and then you got to be a dozer.
Yeah, I got to push dirt around.
Mm-hmm.
I miss working with clay, so this was, close to that at least.
Sure.
Playing in the dirt. Although I did steal the joy of the girls. Their dirt mound is gone.
There's
There's plenty of dirt around here. There's no shortage of dirt around here.
All right.
Yeah, productive day. You're gonna get back at it?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go take care of the children and the dogs. It's about time for dinner. Hey, you just put a hole in our house.
Yes, I did. That's where your security lights go.
I'm out here for my second day of pushing dirt around. Joel is using his skid steer to go down the road and scoop up dirt and then place it in piles over here. We had temporarily relocated the dirt from our excavation a few months ago to piles back behind the house and down the road a little ways. So he's a lot faster with the skid steer than I can be with our tractor here, but that's okay because the tractor is slower and safer getting into this tight space over here between our columns and the house where the dirt needs to go. So I'm handling that, and that also frees up Joel so that he can be back on framing the deck over on the side of the house with Sammy and Papa. Meanwhile, David is still running electrical. He's up in the loft this morning, which is actually going to be his man cave. So he's figuring out where he wants all of his electrical wires and outlets and everything like that. It's another good day. We're getting a little bit of rain. Hopefully we stay dry out here because otherwise we're going to be in mud. So much dirt out here. There's just dirt everywhere. The guys finished framing the deck of our wraparound front porch. Let's go take a closer look. With the framing now complete, it's easy to visualize the additional 850 square feet that this wraparound porch adds to the house. And in a couple of weeks, our Trex decking material will come in, and Joel and his crew will finish the surface of the deck and frame the steps up to the front porch. Where are you going, buddy? David is inside the house this morning. He is just finishing up some of the electrical work. Today, he will be wiring the electrical panel. After spending some time going through the entire house and making up all of the electrical boxes, David was ready to move on to making up the biggest box of the job, the breaker box. It's time. It's panel time. With about 60 canned lights, 70 outlets, 40 light switches, 20 wall-mounted light fixtures, 7 smoke detectors, 4 security lights, and 3 ceiling fans, the wiring layout was pretty complicated and required a lot of mindful organization. David watched a few YouTube videos, and Joel provided some tips based on his years of experience. Then David just jumped right in and began connecting all of the wires to the arc panel, where the circuit breakers will later be installed. Oh, that's so fun. I think there's a hair tool that does that.
Yes, 50 times.
Wait, why do you know the name of it and I don't? I didn't film the entire panel installation, but this is what it ended up looking like. To say I was impressed with David's work is a huge understatement. He really took on this massive job of wiring our entire house, and he absolutely owned it. And speaking of ownership, I have a story to tell you about something really surprising and upsetting that happened right here on our property. We love all 4 seasons here in North Idaho, but fall is my favorite. The temperature drops from the 80s, 90s, and sometimes over 100 degrees Fahrenheit down to the 60s and 70s. The mornings and nights are cool and crisp. The leaves fade from glistening green to vibrant yellows, oranges, and reds. Much-needed rain showers revive the dry earth and replenish the creek. And even the animals and insects seem to be relieved and grateful for the change. And while we don't have a garden yet, in the near future we will, and fall will be our season of harvest, a time to reap the benefits of all our planning, hard work, and sacrifices. But for now, all we have is our new orchard that we just planted this spring, and the trees are too young to be fruit-bearing this year, but we do have a wild apple tree right next to the orchard that we watered all summer, and this year we have about 30 or 40 apples growing on it. Oh, it even has the leaves on it still. I got it. Thank you. It looks like it's kind of hard to bite into. Not quite ready. It's good? Not too tart?
Not too tart at all.
Should we leave them though on the tree a little bit longer?
Hard to bite into, but it tastes so good.
We waited patiently for the fruit to ripen and checked on them periodically, looking for signs that they were ready to be picked. You guys, I am really disappointed right now. I came down here to check on our orchard that we planted in April, about 7 trees, apples, nectarines, and to check on our wild apple tree right here. 2 years ago, there were only a few apples on it. Last year, there were a few more. This year, we had 30, like 30, 40, I don't know, there were a lot. And the last time I was down here a couple of weeks ago, they were starting to turn red. They were getting red spots on them. So just came down again to check on them, and they're all gone. They're all gone, all the way up to the very top. So definitely wasn't wildlife. We have an apple thief. Somebody came onto our property right next to our orchard down here and stole all of our wild apples. I am so upset about this. I know, I'm smiling. This is how I handle anger. Darn it, this is so disappointing. Well, Alina just found the remnants of an apple down here. As you can see, they were ripe, they were beautiful, and there's no sign of them anywhere other than this one. We pretty much outruled the likelihood of deer taking all the apples because the height of the tree is about 30 feet. And we don't believe a bear, raccoon, or a possum could have picked the apples because the majority were at the top of the tree, and the tiny branches at the top could barely even support the weight of the apples themselves. And furthermore, our neighbor's wild apple tree, about 100 feet away, still had nearly 100 apples on it and appeared entirely undisturbed. This is entirely speculation, but a few neighboring lots nearby have recently sold, and that had me thinking. It's entirely possible that they're not aware of our property boundary lines and didn't realize that the orchard was ours and that the wild apple tree was ours. I'm hoping it was just an honest mistake. Having a good relationship with my neighbors is much more important than apples on a tree. So I just need to talk to them and see if it was them. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe there is somebody else who doesn't belong on our land picking our apples. Who would do that? I don't know.
The orchard was right there. I'm also hoping it's an honest mistake, but I mean, like, what the heck?
Yeah.
The orchard.
Yeah, I mean, the orchard's right there.
And it was definitely an adult because there's two big footsteps where I found that apple.
You were tracking? Yeah.
And
You found some evidence.
It led towards the area where the apple tree was.
We're gonna have to set up a game cam, huh? Find out what's going on down here.
This is probably not it, but maybe it's the guy that shot me.
Oh, jeez. Then there's that. I don't think so, sweetheart. I think it was a misunderstanding or something, and we're gonna handle it. Just apples. Just wild apples. Speaking of apples, hey, let's go check out the other apple tree over next to Granny and Gramps' house, right?
This is my trekking stick.
You got your trekking stick, all right. Let's do it. Wow, look at all the apples on this. This is the other apple tree that we have on our land. It's right next to Dad and Carol's house. It's got a ton of apples on it, so we're not gonna be hurting for apples this year. Kind of just the principle at this point that I'm upset about. So what do you think, you guys? We would love to hear your thoughts and how you would handle this situation. So leave a comment for us down below, and then watch this next video that I just picked for you.